Greetings, everybody. Welcome to our new Wisconsin Major League ball players who debuted in 2020. We had 4 ball players. I see 2 of them on with us right now. Daulton Varsho cannot join us tonight. JP, do you know the reason? You can't say it if you do.
They're still muted.
Yeah.
He disappeared off the screen. There we go. He's not muted.
Yeah. JP, do you know why Dalton's not here? Can't say it because he wants to keep it quiet.
Yes, I do know why.
Okay, yeah. So when the video shows up in the newsletter, I will have that reasoning why he could not make it, so he can't make it tonight. I see JP is with us, who played for the Brewers last year, and Kyle Cody, who played for the Rangers. Jonathan Stiever was joining us, and I just sent him an email, did not get one out earlier today. I did not see a response back. Let me look real quick. But welcome, everybody. While I check this email, one of the things I want to mention coming up is on the 30th. I don't know how many of you have signed up for SABR Day yet, but we have the SABR Day event that is going to go from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern with Bob Costas, Tim Mead from the Hall of Fame, and rumor has it we have some very interesting and fun people coming on as well to give some testimonials. So that's on the 30th. You check the website if you want to register for that. I also had that information in the newsletter. So that's it. So let's get on with our meeting now. And so a formal welcome, JP and Kyle. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you doing this. When I wrote about you guys back when you made your debut in September, I kept thinking somehow we have to put this meeting together, and it took a while, but it's here, and I appreciate your joining us. So JP, since you were the first to make it to the majors, I'm going to start the first question to you. I talked to these guys the other day, and I told them I had 2 questions. They weren't trick questions, but I wasn't even going to tell them what I was going to talk about. Just to make them fresh. So the first question is, what is your earliest baseball memory?
Well, my earliest baseball memory is probably just in the backyard playing with my sister and my dad. My sister was in 3rd grade and I was in kindergarten, and we were, the park and rec where it's coach pitch and all these kids wear these colored t-shirts that are way too big for them. That go down to your shins, and mine was especially big because I was a kindergartner playing in a 3rd grader's size t-shirt. So that's probably my earliest baseball memory is doing that stuff with my sister and my dad, and then on my sister's team.
Cool. Yeah, that's neat. Kyle, how about you? What was yours?
I'd say for me, probably in like T-ball. It's funny because I'm a pitcher now, and T-ball back then, it was like all the kids, you'd have like a handful of kids who didn't know how to play or they were bored. And particular in my case, we had a couple kids who would like sit out in the outfield and like pick dandelions while you play. And I was always the one who was really competitive and always trying to win. So it started from an early age, just trying to pick other teammates up. So that was probably my earliest one.
I can appreciate that. When I coached Little League for 3 out of 4 years with my one grandson, and I always liked when we played on one field, they always had a T-ball game going on the other field, and I coached first base. And so I spent more time watching their game than ours, it felt like, because running the wrong way, they're sitting down, the whole thing. I can identify with that very well. So how about your favorite ball player as a kid, Kyle?
That's a tough one. As a kid, I was always a Brewers fan. So, from a young age, I was always a fan of Prince Fielder, Ryan Braun, that era.
Okay.
But other than like non-Brewers pitcher, or a pitcher in general, I'd say my favorite pitcher is Scherzer. I've always liked him since he's come up, and I've tried to kind of, I don't really pitch like him, but kind of from a distance, I've tried to like compare myself to him in a way. So yeah, I'd say him.
Okay. JP, how about you?
My favorite baseball player growing up, I was kind of a Twins Brewers fan. I liked them both just because I'm so close to the border here, and I got to go and watch the Twins a lot more. So my favorite player was Corey Koski, which I mean, just I played third base growing up, and I got to hear him speak a couple times actually, and just kind of all the way when he was playing with the Twins, basically just wanted, like he was my favorite player. I actually still have a picture of him signed by him hanging up in my basement now. So he's just been kind of my player that I always, just had a role model as a player. And so, yeah, Corey Koski.
Good. Interesting. Obviously you played Little League and all that and were competitive. I know you played mostly third base through Little League and all that, JP. Were you always a pitcher, Kyle?
That was definitely my best position. When I tried to play other positions, it was usually first base or like right field or something.
Okay. And then you guys played high school baseball. And JP, that is when you basically changed from primarily a third baseman to a pitcher. Can you tell us that story, why that happened?
Yeah. So sophomore summer on Junior Legion, we were in just like a small town team that was near us, Ellsworth, Wisconsin. And we didn't really have we weren't going to throw our best pitcher against them just because we're a lot bigger, and it was an easier game for us to play. So our coach was just at one practice. He's like, does anyone want to pitch? And I was like, I mean, I guess I'll give it a go, if we need someone to throw, and ended up throwing well that day against them. And then pitched a couple more times on the Junior Legion team and threw well every time. And then our varsity coach basically came to one of the games I threw and said, you're going to come and pitch with us this summer, the rest of the summer. So went from never pitching really at all sophomore summer to going into junior year. And all of a sudden junior year came around and I was our ace coming into the high school season. So just kind of a whirlwind of, becoming a pitcher. And then I think that my confidence on the mound led to me being good at third base too.
Interesting. And follow my notes here. Kyle, you were quite the athlete in high school. You were the Pat Richter Award winner, which was a triple threat award winner. So you excelled at baseball, football, and basketball. You were while you were in high school, your team went to the state 3 consecutive years. You were what's my football notes? I had something on here. Oh, I guess I didn't write that down here. You're also the Gatorade Athlete of the Year in 2012. That's recognizing you for athletics, academic, and character. As someone who's always been accused of being a character, I always kind of like that, but I don't think that's how they mean character for me. How was your high school experience playing in all those sports?
Well, there was definitely not a lot of downtime for me. That was probably the main thing. And that's what I enjoyed the most. So, anytime a season ended, it was always like a light at the end of the tunnel type of thing. You're starting a new one. And sometimes if it would end poorly, it was kind of like, okay, I get something to kind of look forward to. So that was always nice, kind of being able to, move on to the next thing or, focus on something else for a little bit.
Do you feel like you each sport is different and takes different skill sets, but did you feel like the different sports, you're able to take something from one sport to the other maybe more psychologically than actual physical that could help you play in whatever the next sport was.
Yeah, like exactly like you just said, more so psychologically, I'd say. Like without even knowing, I probably helped myself out in other ways, just by working different muscles and using different areas, and um, probably helped me out in other sports as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And then you went on, both of you, to play college baseball, and Kyle, after playing so much football and all these different sports, you selected and went and took a scholarship to play baseball. Why did you? Why baseball instead of football?
For me, it was at first I didn't really know I was gonna excel as much in baseball. I didn't really hit my stride until my junior year, like end of sophomore, junior year, and I kind of knew, or I thought in football junior year, I had a pretty good season. So, it was just a kind of a thought in the back of my head that I could play football. But once, I started getting a little more recognized for baseball, it was kind of an easy choice for me, just based on like wanting to, keep my body as, physically safe as possible, I'd say. Football is pretty dangerous. So I just thought for me, the better thing was baseball, and I really enjoyed baseball. So it was pretty easy.
How was your college career? How was college in general with baseball, playing baseball in college?
I enjoyed it a lot. There was definitely some eye-opening experience, I guess, coming from like a small town in Northwest Wisconsin, going down to a Division I school with 30,000 students there. It's a big step forward, but I'd say after my freshman year, things kind of coasted, and I really enjoyed myself. So.
Okay. Yeah. And JP, you stayed closer to home, and you played in college. You played at UW Stevens Point, and I think you're one of 3 pitchers who went to Point who made it to the major leagues. Most people know Jordan Zimmerman. I saw Jordan Zimmerman in a Northwoods League game in Madison, and he was with I think Wausau at the time, and I saw him. I was one of the few people I'm a nerd and I keep score. He threw 148 pitches in a Northwoods League game. I thought, yikes, that was criminal. So you're from a small town and you stayed in a small college. Are you glad you made that decision?
Yeah, I mean, for one, I didn't really have any other choice. It was either Stout or Stevens Point for me. So It wasn't like there was a ton of colleges recruiting me. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't give up my college years for anything. I mean, the friends I made and just all the memories I have from college and how much fun it was. Yeah, I was really happy with being at Stevens Point and playing under Coach Bloom and I really enjoyed Stevens Point a lot.
Yeah. And then when your college career was over, you were the top D3 prospect in the country. So for someone who didn't pitch until you're in the high school, to be the top D3 prospect is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It also helps that there's not many Division III pitchers that throw over 90 miles an hour. So that kind of helps to my advantage. Where D1, that's just your normal everyday thing. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool to be recognized as the number 1 D3 guy. But still, I'm glad I went to D3 at least, though.
Yeah, good. So both of you played summer ball. And you played probably in the 2 top leagues. I've got my Madison Mallard shirt on. Sorry, but although with you playing for Rapids, that was the same ownership group, and at the time they only owned the Mallard. So, and actually, I know the ballpark. I scouted it out, looking at someone who wanted to put a team in the league, and gave the information to the Mallards, who eventually put a team there. So I feel like I helped them scout for that. But and so you played in the Northwoods League. And Kyle, you were in the Cape. But can you tell us a little about your summer ball experience, and how did that prepare you for the next step, going to the minor leagues, if at all? JP.
Yeah, I mean, the Northwoods League is great just to learn like what minor league baseball is, because you play 66 games in 67 days. You have one day off during those 67 days. So, which is very similar to minor league baseball, where you're just playing every day and you're on a bus trip, and it's not like you're in the most luxurious clubhouses or hotels or anything like that. You're just kind of traveling and competing and just basically playing every day. So I think that the Northwoods League definitely is a great league for that. And you also get to play, I mean, as far as you get to play in front of some fans, I mean, like in Madison where you get to play, it could be 6,000 to 10,000, or I don't even know what they seat, but I think it's 6 to 10 or something like that. And then you have stadiums that are, I mean, they're very similar. The Northwoods League stadiums look like minor league baseball stadiums. So I just think that visually and also mentally preparing you with how many games you play, it definitely helped me out just getting ready for league ball.
JP, the Cape is probably heavier scouted than the Northwoods League. What was your Cape Cod League experience like?
It was definitely, yeah. It was definitely a really cool experience for me. Like all the history behind the Cape Cod League, and you hear about it before you go up there, like how cool it is playing on high school fields, and like people standing all along the fence and stuff like that. It was like the movie. I forget the name of the movie is, but they kind of go over everything about that. It's pretty much exactly like that. But as far as like comparing it to minor league baseball, I don't really think it compares as much. Just because like the farthest place is only like an hour away, and you're never like staying in hotels or anything like that. I guess the only thing, it was the first time I've ever stayed with a host family before. That was kind of a new experience for me, just kind of walking into a random person's house and sharing a meal with them. Like it was something I'm not very used to, and I'm pretty reserved as it is. I like to keep quiet. So me opening up to a different family is kind of weird for me, but I was lucky to meet some great people up there. So, and we still keep in touch. So
yeah, I was a host family for 5 of the first 6 years for the Mallards, and we had 9 ball players stay with us. We generally had 2 stay with us, so they entertained each other more, as my wife always said. And 8 of them we really liked. I stay in touch, I think, still with 6 of them. One I never liked him, and when he left, I was glad he was gone. And that was rare, because our experience as host families was really good about the players. We really enjoyed that. JP, did you have a host family? You were close enough to home, or did you stay at a host family?
I actually stayed in Stevens Point at my college apartment and just commuted to Wisconsin Rapids. It's like 20, 25 minutes, so it wasn't that bad.
Okay, good. The last question on the summer baseball is, in college, everybody's got the aluminum bat. And from a pitching standpoint, with the wood bat league, it gives you an opportunity to learn how to pitch inside a little more comfortably than with the aluminum bat, is what I've been told by pitchers. Is that the case you saw, that just learning how to pitch inside because you didn't have to worry about that aluminum bat pinging as much? Kyle?
Yeah, definitely. I had a lot of conversations with my old head coach in college, and he told me basically, all those bloop singles that you gave up in college this year, those will probably be outs this summer. So don't stop doing that. Actually, you can continue to do that more and work on it, because that's what you're going to see, as you move on with your career. So yeah, that was definitely huge for me, being able to throw a sinker inside to a righty and get to see the actual results that will happen as you move up. So
yeah, good. JP, same thing?
Yeah, I mean, and even more so than, because in college guys stay in the box and don't care if they get hit. So you hit by a bunch of hit by pitches, and in that league, kids wanted to actually swing the bat so they get out of the way, and actually made pitching inside nice because you weren't worried about some guy sticking his elbow out and taking a base on you, which, I mean, they don't do anymore, which is nice now in pro ball.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So you're in through college, you're getting to your junior years, you're at that point where you can get drafted, and that day comes up. Can you tell us a little about that? Let me take a look at my note here. And Kyle, I want, if you could answer this first, because how was your draft day? Well, I guess we have to ask, how was all three of them? Because you were drafted 3 times. How was that? How was, the experience of being drafted 3 times? And by the time the third one came along, did it lose some of its steam, or was that as exciting as the first one?
Well, the first one, to be honest, I didn't even know I got drafted until someone texted me, and because I was just sitting at my house and I got a text saying congratulations, and I'm thinking to myself, like, for what? What are you talking about? But that one was more of like a surprise to me because I wasn't really expecting it. And then my junior year, that was probably the most pressure I felt at an early age, just because, like, I had a lot of friends and family there, and I thought I was going to go earlier than I did, and I ended up going later. And then the thought was creeping in my head, like, what if I don't get picked tonight? All these people are going to go home and like think it was a disappointment. But I ended up getting picked later that night, and it was a really cool experience to celebrate with, some of the people closest to me. So, and then my senior year, it was a lot fewer people, but it was still pretty special to me because at that point I knew I was going to go to this team. Like, I didn't really have a choice to go anywhere else. So I knew the team that took me really valued me and wanted to give me a chance. So it was good.
Why did you decide not to go into Major League Ball after your junior year?
It was honestly just a lot of like behind the scenes stuff, like with talking with higher up people about your physical and MRIs and stuff like that, and just a lot of unknown stuff that kind of just went south. So
okay, good. Well, I think you did okay going to Texas. So JP, how about you, that draft day experience?
Yeah, mine, I mean, I was just hoping to get drafted basically because I mean, not that I didn't love college, but I wanted to continue playing baseball. And I mean, I just had my really close family and a couple of close buddies that were there with me. And mine wasn't, I mean, it was just, I knew I was going to go on that last day because how many rounds there were, I just didn't know where. So, but yeah, it was just nice kind of getting that call from Cleveland and saying that we picked you in the 16th round, and just excited to continue my baseball career and see where it went from there, basically.
Okay, so let's talk a little about that. How about JP? Talk about your minor league experience, and of the 4 players, you're the only one who was traded. So you played minor league baseball, moved through the system well, and it actually got traded. Talk about your minor league experience and what it felt like to be traded.
Yeah, I mean, the first trade was kind of like a complete shock to me. Just being that, like, most of the time when you hear about trades, it's the big prospects that are getting moved and guys that you like that you hear about in all of the MLB talk and stuff like that. And for that trade with the Yankees, it was kind of like, oh man, I'm getting traded to the Yankees. I mean, everybody, it's the Yankees, so you have that air about them, and it was just kind of a shock because my parents were just out for the week, and all of a sudden at 8:30 in the morning, I got a call from at the time it was, well, actually I got a call from Cashman saying, hey, we just traded for you from the Indians. Here's so-and-so's number, and they'll get you to where you need to go. And that was pretty much it. And it was just like hang up. He hung up the phone, and I was like, huh? Like, what? And then the trade came out, and me and 3 other guys, got traded to the Yankees from the Indians, and it was just kind of like a whirlwind of a couple days. And then the second trade was from the Yankees to the Brewers, was kind of just like thank goodness I'm out of here type of trade, honestly. It was almost like a blessing in disguise, just finally getting a chance to get out of the org and move on.
Yeah, good. How was travel and everything in the minor leagues? How was that experience?
I mean, it was good. I didn't really have a problem with it. I know some people hate bus trips, but I sleep or play cards pretty much the whole trip. So if anyone doesn't like playing cards or can't sleep on a bus, then I would say that it can't be good for them. But for me, traveling wise, buses don't really bother me. And but yeah, I thought at least so far I've been lucky with my minor league travel.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite moment or story from the minor leagues?
I think that basically every year that like making playoffs, being able to pop champagne with your teammates and get to celebrate, just like you just played 142 games and now you're playing more, and most guys are like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to go home, but I think that once you get to play playoff baseball, then you realize how it's worth it, and how each game that you play during the season is worth it to play more, and getting to celebrate with your teammates at the end of the year on a successful season.
Good, cool. Kyle, how about your minor league experience?
I thought I had a really good time. Talking on the travel, there was only a couple experiences that I really didn't like. It was when I was up in Spokane for a short season. It was right after college, and it was like one of the first weekends. We just finished a game. I think it was a 7:00 game, so we got done around 10 or 11, and then we played the next day in Vancouver, and we drove through the night to get there, and we showed up at like 5 or 6 a.m. and we had to play that night. So those were some of the tougher things that most people didn't realize, is like the travel and the lower levels is so much different than the travel in like AA and AAA. It's just it's such a grind, and you got to really self-motivate, like, to get yourself going for a 7:00 game when you have 2 or 3 hours of sleep. So
Yeah,
those are some of the hard things.
Yeah. And you were, I note here, and then in 2017, you were the, I got notes here. I think I'm doing this right. You were the organization's pitcher of the year, I believe, if I'm correct. I got these notes here. You were named the Nolan Ryan Minor League Pitcher of the Year in 2017.
Mm.
And then after that, what happened?
Yeah, so after that, the next spring training, I'm coming into the complex, and I ended up hurting my elbow, and that kind of set me back. And we tried to rehab it for the first 3 or 4 months and hope that it would just kind of heal itself, and that really didn't work. So that July, I ended up getting Tommy John, and then that kind of pushed me back another 1.5 years. So I didn't really compete pitching wise for 2 full seasons, and that kind of hurt, because you see guys in the organization who you might think you're better than, or like who are younger than you, and they're passing you up, and you can't do anything about it. So that was definitely one of the some of the lowest times, like just sitting in rehab, because there's literally nothing you can do. And but I think it also really helped my mentality, and like there's you can't really control a lot of things. So when you're given an opportunity, like, go after it and don't hold back. So it definitely changed my outlook on things.
So then let's come up to 2020. And so you didn't pitch in 2018 or 2019, and now we're here at 2020, and you went to spring training and high hopes of playing. And what happened in March? We shut down baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So after a year and a half of not playing and have that happen, that must have been kind of a blow.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I was expecting to go to AA in Frisco and, get my innings and, just trying. The main thing for me that year was health and staying healthy. So when there was no season, it was kind of hard for me to really have an outlook on what I'm looking forward to, because no one really knew what they were looking forward to. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you made the 60-man roster when it was put together for when the season was starting to come back in July.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped. What did you do during between March and July to stay in shape, and not only to stay in shape, but what was the motivation? Because who knew what was going to happen? I mean, that in itself had to be a challenge.
Yeah, at times it was tough to find motivation. But I was living out here in Arizona, and we were just going into the complex, like a handful of us, 4 or 5 guys. And we'd literally just go in and play catch, and then we'd go home. Like, it wasn't really much going on. And, our pitching coach was there, and he tried to keep us like, I keep thinking, we're going to go somewhere next week. And then a week would pass, and it was like, I think we're going to get a deal the week after. It was like 4 or 5 weeks of that, like him telling us. And but it was definitely tough. But when it finally came, it was bittersweet. So
as we go through that, and it's interesting, of the 4 of you, JP is the only one who was traded. You're the only one who suffered an injury so far. So you guys, I had a couple more questions on. So it was nice of you to make it on this call, since I had all these questions. So I appreciate that. It was kind of nice. And so we went to like I was there. You guys went to got into the July baseball and the alternate sites, and that was exciting. And you were playing baseball and having an opportunity. But then all of a sudden they needed ball players. And JP, I know you had a very strong spring. Coming out of spring, it looked like initially you had a good shot at making the roster. And then so you were on the alternate site. And when the 40-man roster was put together, or the 30-man roster was put together for opening day, you made the team. How did you find out that, how were you notified?
Yeah. So it was the second to last day of summer camp. Council came up to me, basically said, "Hey, we don't know where you're going yet. We don't know if you're going to stay with us or you're going to go to the alternate site. So just hang tight." And then like an hour later, he called me into the office and he said, I have some bad news. And I was like, shoot, I'm going to the alternate site. And he goes, you're going to have to make your debut in front of no fans. And so him and David were in the office, and he said that to me. And I was like, well, that might be the best bad news I've ever heard. So that's how basically I was notified. And it was kind of just like just one of those moments where you dream of getting that call and having it normally, come in the middle of the season or out of spring training. And it just happened to be out of this July summer that we had. So it was a pretty great moment.
Cool. Kyle, how did you find out?
Mine was a little weird. So we were traveling to San Diego, and I was on what they call like the taxi squad. And it was like basically 4 guys who traveled with the team in case of injury or, they needed a replacement or like extra innings and they were out of relievers, something like that. So basically I was just walking out to the field, and we were about ready to stretch and play catch and stuff. And Chris Woodward, our manager, came up to me and was like, "Hey man, we just activated you. You think you could throw it? Like, are you good to go tonight?" I was like, "What?" This is you hear so many stories about guys like getting called into the office or getting like a phone call, and like the emotion. Like I didn't even have time to really react about it and like get a chance to like take a deep breath or think or anything. So it definitely caught me off guard, but like once he started like saying it again, like I had him say it one more time, but it all kind of sunk in at that point, and it was really cool.
Yeah, that's yeah. There's all kinds of stories about those. I was just wondering if either one of you had one of those. So you had different situations, which is interesting. So, and when he asked if you were ready to pitch that night, I think you were ready to pitch that night. You had a very nice first outing. You took 13 pitches. I mean, you didn't have a perfect inning there, but 13 pitches, and you struck out the side. Wow. That's
It was actually the next night, but I was a little nervous because we went into extras the night I got called up. So I was getting nervous about coming in with a guy on second base in my debut. But anyways, yeah, the next night it was pretty cool. I tell this to a lot of people, like I don't think I was put in, you know, a better opportunity to have my debut. Like it was like pretty much set. Like I was facing 8-9-1 and you know, clean inning, and we're losing in like the 8th inning, so there's not like a ton of pressure going in there in that moment. But you know, I just tried to like, you know, stick to the basics and, you know, be self-confident, do what I know how to do. So it was good.
Good. And JP, so they messed with you on making the team, and you end up pitching on opening day. How was getting into not only your first game, but in the first opening day you were part of?
Yeah, I mean, it came to a shock to me that I was going in the game because opening day, you're thinking, okay, we have everyone ready, everyone our pens ready. It's 2-0 against the Cubs in Wrigley. Where I'm not expecting to go in, and I get a call and go in for the 8th inning, and it was going well for the first couple hitters, and then I ran into Rizzo, and he got a hold of one. But then, I mean, it went well. I thought, you know, getting a half out first, and then getting my first strikeout against Bryant, and homer against Rizzo, and then getting Baez out. So it was like almost like for me, it was a confidence thing. Faced, I mean, 3 of the best hitters in the big leagues, and you know, one of them got me, but it was I thought for my first outing, it was kind of the first time I ever came off the mound smiling after giving up a run. So it was pretty awesome.
That's and that is, and I think that's you know, and I like looking at first at bats, first pitching for rookies, and I always like following is. I always like to see getting that first strikeout if you get in that and your first outing. You got your first 3, Kyle. You got that out of the way, but it's just that's really good. You alluded to this, JP, when you said, I've got bad news. Your debut is going to be in front of no fans. How was the 2020 season for you guys? Now you made it's going to be a year you always remember because you made your debut, and it's going to be a year we all remember, even if we don't want to remember a lot of it. How was it playing in front of cardboard?
I mean, for me, it almost was like it's like a buffer zone to the real thing. Like this next year, hopefully we're going to have fans in the stands. But I mean, it just was weird because it's just like the normal buzzing sound of the fan noise that they had. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, there's nobody actually yelling anything at you. It's just basically a hum. But I felt like for me, it was a good first year just to kind of get my feet underneath me in a playing. Once there is, it'll kind of be a little bit more of an adrenaline rush, and we'll get to feel what a real big league game feels like.
Kyle, how about you?
Yeah, a lot of what JP just said was kind of the same for me. It was definitely weird, you know, sitting at your home stadium and you just kind of hear the same noise over and over again. Like as a player, you like to hear, you know, certain people, like people behind you, like their conversations, you know. stuff like that. Because during a game, like, you know, you watch the game, but it can get boring, you know, from time to time, especially like fans, they bring out like excitement to the game, and they bring energy and stuff like that. So it did feel a little dull to me. I think definitely when fans come back, it'll bring the excitement back into the game. And not saying that I wasn't excited at all, because I really was, but I just think the game itself needs fans. So it'll be nice.
Either one of you, do you feel that you're looking at, you had some star players really have some off years. You had some other players have really good years. Did having the fans or not having the fans affects how some players played? Are some people motivated more with having the fans in there, and others might have done better because they weren't, you know, hearing the raspberries? Do you have any feel on that, either one of you?
I would say definitely it affects each person differently. For me, I definitely get like a lot more adrenaline when, you know, after you strike someone out, the crowd's like just going crazy. So I could see definitely for veteran players, like when they're so used to that, just not getting that extra adrenaline that they're used to. So
I agree with
JP?
Kyle.
Yeah.
I agree with him. Yeah. Just, I mean, those guys that are normally used to 40,000 people in the stands, that it was tough for them to get up for nobody this year.
Yeah, I don't know how, with people on here, how many of us can't wait to go to a ball game, but how many of us are a little nervous about going back in a ballpark for a while? I mean, I'm not sure I can see me going in there yet. I can walk to spring training for where I live when I'm within, I think the second closest ballpark, Surprise, so where the Rangers are. So I can go see 4 teams with driving 20, 25 minutes tops. So I'm not sure I'm ready for a crowd. So any stories about the major leagues, anything that you guys would like to talk about your major leagues career so far? You made it to the show. Anything that stands out? Yeah, Kyle?
I got one quick story. It was after my debut. We ended up losing the game, but you know, after a game, everyone in the dugout's kind of like a head down type of thing, and as you're walking to the clubhouse, it's pretty quiet. You know, people are kind of keeping to themselves. But as I was walking to the clubhouse, Todd Frazier pulled me aside, and he came up to me. He's like, "Dude, that's one of the best debuts I've ever seen in my life. You should definitely be proud of that and never forget that moment." And I just thought that was really cool coming from him, like a guy I looked up to. I watched a lot as a kid. He was always he was with the Reds, so Brewers played them a lot, and I just thought that was really cool for me. So
I agree. JP?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have really any like great stories. Just, I mean, it was just really an awesome year getting to finally get to play at that level and play with those guys. So,
Okay.
but nothing to stand out like that.
Okay. That's great. I've got a video of Daulton Varsho that I did last week since he couldn't make it. Are you guys, can you stay for a little bit? It's going to take about 20 minutes, and you want to listen to what Daulton had to say. We come back and open up to questions from everybody out there. Sound good? Jacob, are you still awake out there? I'm going to try sharing my screen. Let's see if it works. Otherwise, can you put that up there for me? Having the same issue. Are you guys seeing this video at all? Or
No.
just hearing it?
Neither.
Neither one. We just still see you.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Please change that screen.
Yeah. Oh, no. Anything but that. Let me, hey, Jacob, are you still out there?
You'll have to set me as a co-host first, and then I'll be able to do it.
Okay. Okay, there you are.
All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Yep.
First, but this is a good opportunity for our members to get to know who Daulton Varsho is.
Thank you.
You bet. So I've got a couple of questions I'd like to start out with. And the first one is, what is your earliest baseball memory?
My earliest memory probably was when I was 5 years old. I had a birthday party at the field, and my dad was in Reading at the time, the manager there, and we threw a birthday party for me at the field, and he had me throw out the first pitch, and I just remember throwing out the first pitch, and it was a pretty cool moment to do that. And I don't know if I made it to home plate or not, but I just remember doing that. But there was obviously more memories down the road, which I really remember and I cherish, but that was probably the earliest memory that I can think of.
I figured you would probably have a little more, have a different first memories than a lot of us who didn't have a father who was in Major League Baseball. So, but I was wondering where that would go. So that's very interesting. And I didn't throw out my first pitch until age 60, so you're way ahead of me on that. And I didn't make it to the plate, that I remember. Who was your favorite ball player growing up as a kid?
It's easy. Jim Tom. He was such a humble and player that I wanted to model myself after.
Who was that?
Jim Tomey.
Okay. Okay.
He took me all the time into batting cages growing up, and I got a cool opportunity just to be around him and learn from him and watch what he did every day at the ballpark. And I mean, he's one of the greats, and it's the reason why he was an easy Hall of Famer for everybody to choose. And I think a lot of people, if they watch how he played, that's how they should model their skill set after.
Yeah, I agree. I can't think of anyone who doesn't like him other than maybe because he's an opponent, but as a person, you couldn't ask for a better person to play baseball.
Yeah, you can ask for a better human being overall.
Yeah. Interesting. I wasn't sure where you're going with that because I was just the father in the game, but you were around a lot of ball players. So that was very, very interesting. Thank you. I'm looking forward to that question. Let's start high school. There's only two people who have made the major leagues who played in Marshall High School. It's easy, just the last name's the same on both of them, you and your dad. You were second team All-State as a junior, first team All-State as a senior, as a catcher. Why catcher?
Early on, when I grew up, I just always loved being able to control the game. Just always have my hand on the ball and just knowing that I can control the tempo. So I think that's what kind of drew me to it. And now, I mean, I'm kind of splitting a little time out in the outfield, and I love both, but catching still is in my heart, and hopefully I can stay in that position for a long time. And but catching was one factor that I thought that I could be at, being a smaller kid, and I stuck behind there, and I've gotten to the big leagues catching, and I'm going to try to stick there as long as I can.
Well, sounds like a good plan to me. I coaching a little bit of Little League, and one of my favorite ball players on a team that I coached was our catcher. Unfortunately, he was left-handed, and so leaving Little League, his career behind the plate was gone, and he was what you would call, what you liked about the catcher. He controlled the game. He kept everybody in the game. He was just very, very good at what he did. And I thought it's a shame that because he's left-handed, he'll no longer be behind the plate. So I agree. So from Marshfield, you enrolled at UW Milwaukee, not a baseball mega school. Why UWM? My alma mater, so thank you.
Yeah. Honestly, not many people really recruited me out of high school. Them and Bradley were probably the two Division I teams that I was kind of looking at. But I mean, there was a lot of Division II teams in Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois area. But I don't know. It was just the right fit for me. Scott Duffick and Corey Bigler were both coaches there, and they they kind of just said the right things in the meeting, and I figured that I could kind of further my baseball career with them and just learning underneath them and knowing that I could probably play out my freshman year. And that was kind of a big factor for me, is being able to play all those years. And I think helped me. And one good thing that Scotty let me do in the 2 years that I was kind of the main catcher my sophomore and junior year, he let me call my own game. And I think you see a lot of college coaches let that happen for catchers nowadays coming through college, because I mean, the big thing for big time Division I's, they have to get to the College World Series. That is their main goal. And for us, being in a smaller Division I school, our whole goal is to win the conference and then hopefully get to the conference championship game. And I think that was one of the biggest learning curves for me, was being able to call the right game, knowing when to slow things down for the pitcher, and just knowing that kind of helped me out further my career in professional baseball, because now when you get here, it's all on the catcher now to call the games and earn the respect of all the pitchers and doing all that stuff. So that was one of the big reasons.
That's really good to hear about the program. Following UWM's program some, it's the only Division I in the state, and so they've done some pretty decent things for a small school, really considered small in baseball. And you're the only major leaguer from UWM so far, so you'll have somebody join you.
They actually updated their facility, so I'm hoping they start getting a little bit more recruits from Wisconsin. And as there's more and more professional baseball players coming out of Wisconsin, so I'm hoping that he can get a couple of them, because there are a lot here, and there's a lot of them that are overlooked. So I hope that that he's able to help those kids.
Well, you're right about more players from Wisconsin. We had 4 major leaguers this year. That may be one of our best years ever. Before Thursday's meeting, I'm going to look to see what the numbers have been, but I think it's been 2 or 3 of those for the last 6 years. So yeah, it's a good sign for Wisconsin baseball. Yes. Then the other thing that you did during your college, you were also the Feyereisen Player of the Year as a sophomore. So did you guys go to the playoffs that year?
We made it my freshman year. We made it to the conference championship. I think my sophomore year we did as well, and we lost. We never made it past our conference tournament. We never could get over that hump. And but I mean, my freshman year we were dominated by it. We had like 15 people leave at the end of the year, including 2 guys who got drafted, and we had so many seniors. So it was a tough group to get together, and with a lot of different cliques. But I mean, we played super well together, just couldn't get over that hump of beating Wright State. And USC was a really good team at that point too. So those are the 2 dominant schools in our conference. So it's like you have to match up against them, and you guys got to play better at that point.
Yeah, I agree. So while in college, you also played in the Northwoods League. I have a strong love for the Northwoods League. I was a host family for the Madison Mallards. Sorry, I talked about the bad guys. 5 of the first 6 years I was their team historian, was really involved with it. And so the Northwoods League has always been very, very interesting to me. Then you played with the Express, where you were a 2-time All-Star for them. I always felt that when you look at the different college development leagues, and the Cape Cod League is still considered, the premier league. But my thought is the Northwoods League, which I think probably ranked 2nd, would be a better experience for players who are hoping to play professional baseball, because of the travel experience and everything you get in that league, where in the Cape Cod League, you really don't get that.
I mean, you hit that right on the head. I think the Northwoods League prepares you to get into professional baseball so truly, that because it's long bus rides, it's not that great of diet at all times. You're staying up late, going to gas stations to find some food, and it's just you prepare yourself so much for professional baseball, because it's not the plane flights, it's not the quick bus rides. You don't get sleeper buses. So I think if you're looking to learn how to have a little bit of success going into pro ball, I think that's a good step, because you learn how to play so many games in such a short time period, and you obviously get more at bats, you play more innings. And I think if you're a hitter, I think it helps you out a little bit more. Obviously pitching, depending on how many innings you threw out throughout the year for your college season, I think that's a little bit different. But Northwoods is such a good introduction to what professional baseball is all about.
Yeah. Thank you. It was always my thought, and I appreciate that. So how was it going up there with that wood bat when you first started?
It was a big time adjustment. I mean, it was different, but the more you did it and the more you swing with the wood bat, the easier it became. You start liking the wood bat better than the metal, just because I thought it was harder and it was a little bit more competitive. So, but now that's the normal, and I think a lot more kids are realizing that to be able to swing with wood bat correctly is a better way to train. So I think that it's just fun that they still have that league and it's doing really well and it's growing, and I just hope that the Northwoods can stay afloat.
Yeah, amen. I think they will. They're a pretty decent league. They got some good people in it, some good teams. So I agree with you 100% there. So you were drafted number 68 by the D-backs. What was that day like?
It was a whirlwind, definitely. I'd never expected the D-backs to draft me, to be honest. I had a quick interview with Rick Short during the season where he was the scout who drafted me, and did some tests, did all of the paperwork early on. And the only team that really I thought I had a chance to go early with was the Cubs, just because I got invited to their private pre-draft workout, and I thought I did pretty well there, and the scouts seemed to really like me, and the D-backs kind of came in at the pick after the Cubs, and they took me. So I thought I landed in the correct spot. I think the D-backs have treated me with all respect and did everything for me to get to the big leagues, and I can't thank them enough just to draft me and draft a kid from central Wisconsin and have the trust in me to be able to have some success in the big leagues, and hopefully I can keep doing it for the next 15 years.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Living down here in Arizona, I can follow you a lot easier. That's what I was doing. I check the box scores. I'm not a D-backs fan. I'm a Brewers fan, but I check the box scores every day just to see how you were doing. So you made me get into D-back baseball. So nothing else, you help create a partial fan to some extent. I'm not sure I'll wear D-backs hat yet,
Thank you.
Yeah. Then you advanced through three minor league teams, starting low A, and then double A. And in Jackson in 2019, you were the organization's minor league player of the year. Tell me about your minor league experience.
I think the only thing I never really experienced was being able to go up to the next level during the season or get a promotion. So that was the only thing I really never got to experience. But I think overall they did everything right for me. I mean, I stayed in the same spot with the same coaches all year, and I learned every single year of progressing on. So our coordinators were great at the time. Our coaches every year that we had in those 3 different teams were awesome. And I think the biggest thing was taking that next big step to the big leagues. And it was a big learning year for me. And the minor leagues definitely is a bigger step when you have to go to the minor leagues to the big leagues. So, but the minor leagues was an interesting spot just because you start getting the introduction of getting some guys from international and starting to playing against them, and it's kind of seeing different types of baseball, because growing up in central Wisconsin, you don't see that as much, but even though growing up in the clubhouse, I did. So different things that I learned in those 3 years in the minor leagues, but it was a lot of fun, and it was good memories, and I stuck with almost the same draft group all the way up. So we got to understand the glue of each other and kind of being leaders of the clubhouse all the steps all the way through.
Nice. That sounds really good. So then, I imagine last year you were expecting to go to AAA when everything, 2020 will be a year, I keep telling people 2020 is a year we want to forget and we'll never be able to do so. But for you, there's a lot of good memories. So you'd have probably gone to AAA last year, but instead you ended up on the 60-man roster. So you were at the alternate site. What did you guys do at the alternate site?
So our alternate site I was separated from like the big league group. So there was 40 guys in the big league group and then 20 guys at the alternate site summer camp group. But we all kind of came together and played games every day. But the first part of the day we practiced, and so the big league group was together and we were a group, and we caught bullpens, did VP, took ground balls, fly balls, anything that we needed to kind of prepare for the game that day. And so then we traveled from our spring training complex up to Chase, and then played a big league group kind of sprinkled in. We weren't in like the starting lineups, but like when it's honestly like spring training, when the normal big leaguer guys who have had 3-4 at bats, they kind of leave the stadium, but then you start seeing some minor leaguers like us kind of filter in, and that was kind of what happened right away, just because we had so many pitching and everybody had to get innings. So just understanding that and that build up. So that was kind of what summer camp was a little bit about. And then alternate site during the year when I was there for that 7 to 10 day stretch, it was pretty much the same thing. It was like the minor league season. You practice a little bit during the early part, get your routine in, and then we played games sprinkled in with some coaches that some staff members to like play off the field and some other people that any players.
Neat. So you were called up on July 30th, your birthday month, so that was nice. It just keeps July as important. And in that same night, you made your debut, and you pinched hit in the 9th inning, and you got a walk. Now, all of us when we were growing up, we dreamed of hitting home runs in the World Series, and that, and all those sort of dreams we had. How was that debut game? How did that fit with your dreams as a kid? Your first major league at bat.
I think it really didn't sink in until I've been home here. Like, it was kind of like I wasn't really ever shook from it, and I wasn't like my adrenaline never really pumped up until I think there was a couple games. Obviously, playing the Dodgers is totally different, and playing the Padres is really cool. They were two really good teams at the time, and I think my adrenaline really never kicked in until this end of the season. I started reflecting on like how cool it actually was to be able to have that moment. I think it was just different because there was no fans in the stands, and not being able to feel that extra flow. Knowing that my family just wasn't there, I think that was one of the toughest things to do. But knowing that I got the opportunity to get up there and be able to have my first big league at bat, I think that was one of the coolest moments to reflect on right now.
Yeah. My follow-up on there, I said, and in an empty stadium. I'm sure. I know in minor leagues you didn't play in front of large crowds necessarily, but you didn't have cardboard crowds, so that was different. Which do you remember more, your first base hit or your first home run?
My first home run. I mean, that was pretty cool when everybody hugged me when I got to third. I mean, that was a cool moment. Everybody was super excited, and I think it was just cool because it happened in such a historic park, and to do it there, and it was just a cool opportunity for me to be able to get that done and kind of have it done in my first big league season was an awesome opportunity. But that's definitely the first thing that comes to my mind about this season is that first home run, just knowing that it was cool in that ballpark.
Yeah, I agree. And I was wondering when I wrote this question, if you went home run, my next question was, so did the veterans on the team do the rookie dissing where they all went to the other side of the dugout and ignored you like they sometimes do, but they came with it, so they didn't do that?
No, they didn't.
That's good. 2020 was weird. We all know that. What was it like playing every day in an empty ballpark? Does the fans help motivate some players? That the excitement of that. Some players may, without having a crowd there watching them, maybe they relax. How was playing in an empty stadium?
I think as a rookie, I think it helped me just, like I said before, kind of control my adrenaline a little bit. Obviously, with fans, I would have amped it a little bit, but knowing that I can control it now and understanding the game, how much faster it is. But I think everybody just communication with the fans, kind of having that relationship with your community that your ballpark's around, and being able to joke around. I think that's what players miss, and I think that's what baseball was missing a little bit this year, was that little fun antic with fans and being able to just kind of relax and be able to know that fans are going to be there cheering you on, whether it's good or times, and kind of having that extra little adrenaline flow kind of does help a little bit with certain changes in the game. And I think guys miss that, and I just hope that this year we can have some fans, even if it's 10% capacity or if it's full capacity. I think we're all ready for that to happen.
Fan side, we are too. Although at my age, I'm a little concerned about walking into a ballpark right now, but vaccines are coming, and hopefully that changes everything around. I appreciate you doing this. Any final words of wisdom? What was, if you had anything to sum up your 2020 season, what would that be?
I think the biggest thing was I learned so much, and just being around the clubhouse and being around those guys, and just understanding that pitchers know that I'm going to try to help them as much as possible, and trying to figure out how to communicate that, and knowing that I need to get their trust and their respect, and just knowing that I'm going to learn from a lot of my mistakes this year, and hope I can keep figuring some things out. And I know that I didn't hit as well as I wanted to up there this year. I just know that this next year, with the adjustments I made, it's going to be a lot better than what I showed. So I think every day is a learning to get better at baseball, because it never stops. And just knowing that if you can stay humble, and just knowing that everything can be fine, things are going to fall into place, and things are going to be fine if I'm just Daulton Varsho. So.
We're out slow in August, did play a lot. And then September, you played almost every day. And by the end of the season, it turned around. Things are starting to click. Repetition and everything probably helps. So it was you finished very strongly. And I'm looking forward to following you this year. I'm hoping to be able to see. I've not been in that ballpark to see a ball game, so it's still on my list. I'm hoping I can go in there too this year. So thank you very much. I will turn off the recording for now. So you hang on a second. And
So kind of the similar questions there. Kyle, there was one other question I didn't ask. I wanted to get through that before we finished. And you got your first major league win. You pitched in relief 3 times and then started your final 5. You got your first major league win. Which do you remember more? Your debut game or getting the W?
I'd say, I mean, I remember them both pretty well, but I think the debut was a little more special for me, just because it was a lot of different emotions, and being out there for the first time, it just kind of brought a lot of different feelings and of excitement, and chasing your dreams and always going after your dreams and stuff like that. So I think that was really cool for me.
And then JP, when the rosters went from 30 to 28, you were returned to the alternate site, but you were called up later in August. Did you get a little bit of a call-up call that made it a little more interesting? Were you expecting to go back up? How was that?
Actually, it was kind of similar to Kyle's. Basically, his first call-up was, I was with the team on the taxi squad, and after the game, I mean, I had at least a little bit more time, but it was as I was walking by David, he basically said, "You're going to be activated tomorrow, so be ready to go." And that was pretty much it. So it wasn't like any special or anything like that.
Okay, cool. I stole all the questions, everybody. Sorry, but I had a whole list of them and I did a little research. I'm sure you guys have questions that I didn't even think of. Anybody have a question for our ball players?
I have one for both Kyle and JP.
Yeah.
Of course, we're all uncertain exactly what the next few months will hold for any of us, but do you have any idea of what your future holds in 2021?
As of right now, I think it's going to be hopefully a regular season, at least what I've heard. And from there, then it'll be decided if we get to be with the team or not. So just got to compete and earn a spot.
Yeah, I think the same thing for me too. They basically just told me to come in ready to compete for a starting job. So that's basically what I've been trying to do this off season, is just do whatever I can to come in ready to compete. So that's basically what I'm looking at.
David, I thought I saw your hand go up. Do you have a question?
Of course I got a question.
Yeah.
All right, for both of you. In the minors, do you have a book on each hitter you face that you look at years down the road if you see that same hitter in the majors, and does it translate to later on in their career?
For me personally, I don't, just because I know that, hitters can make a lot of adjustments over their career. That hitter who might only be a single, double, like gap to gap hitter, later in his career, he might gain some power and hit it to all field. So I just know that hitters can really do a good job of making adjustments. So I'm going to kind of go how they're doing in that certain moment compared to like how they've done 2 or 3 years ago. So.
Yeah, I think for me, it's I think I'd have to face a guy quite a few times before you'd kind of get away to pitch him. And I think that for me as a reliever coming in the game, you just kind of have to go with your best stuff and attack them with your best stuff. So unless there's like a blaring way to get the guy out, most of it's just basically go out there and compete and give them your best.
Anybody else out there? Congratulations, you guys. I'm going to be following you all year. It's been fun when I started looking into this in September, updating it with end of the year numbers. And so I'll be following you again this year. And the good news is that means I'll put stuff in the newsletter. If nothing else, I know I have some spots I can fill in the newsletter. So you guys are going to help me with that. So thank you for that. I think I ended with Daulton with any words of wisdom or last things that you just think you'd like to say about your 2020 season.
Not really. I mean, it was pretty cool experience, and it was kind of a blessing for me. Just looking for a long, healthy career going forward. So.
Amen to that.
And I would say the thing, hopefully, I mean, 2020 was a blessing of a year, just getting up there, but hopefully every year from here on out, it just gets a little bit better and better.
Okay, good. Well, congratulations on making your debut. There's 249 Wisconsin-born Major League ball players. You're in a very small group, and so congratulations on that. Good luck with the coming season, and thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And there's something on chat. There's some questions out here. Nothing new. I did see where Brenda, we were mentioning, you're talking about the T-shirt, playing in the yard with the T-shirt that didn't fit. She got her first, she played on the team. She was 28 years old before they had matching T-shirts. So that's kind of sad. So, okay. Anything else, guys? We can, if there's anything else to talk about. Mary, do you want to talk quickly about the book club? I know we have a meeting coming up February 10th, and have we selected a book to read after this book club meeting?
Yeah, so February 10th, I see some of our usual book club people. So yeah, February 10th, you register through the SABR website or through the newsletter. And it's easy. You just type in your name and email, and then they'll give you the Zoom instructions. So you don't have to go through me. So of course, we're looking forward to talking with Bob about Orchard Field, the legendary little ballpark in Milwaukee. It looks like our next book, if you want to start reading, is going to be K in 10 Different Pitches. That seemed to be the one that people were interested in. So anyone who didn't get that on the email thread, Otherwise, we can discuss on February 10th. I'm open to ideas as well. So
Yeah.
K is just a book I was interested in. So
No, I think we saw a general leaning in that direction from those of us who are willing to help you. You know, not me, but a few of us said, "Oh, they all look great, Mary." So, but I think Bob was one who said, a number of people said, "Kay, I think that'd be a good one to read." So I can put that in the newsletter so we can announce what the next book is too, if you like. If you want to put a quick thing on that.
okay,
So,
great. Yeah. Jack and John made some really good comments, and that helped. So so I appreciate everybody's feedback.
anything anybody else has they'd like to bring up, talk about, questions or anything?
Dennis, I just want to compliment, I guess, you and everybody else who contributed, but I thought that last newsletter was really good.
I thought so too.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's I've got most of it already written. As things come up, I kind of throw it in there right away. So I try to stay ahead, and if I can get enough things, I see enough articles, I can get them in there. I keep waiting for Bob to tell me where I'm missing my commas and my semicolons and stuff, because my accounting degree is much better with commas and numbers than I think, and so I'm sure I'm having some grammatical problems, but thank you. Francis, I've always thought you're one of my favorite people in SABR, so you just stayed in that spot on that one. But, yeah.
Well, also, whoever wrote I don't know if it was you, Dennis, or someone else, but whoever wrote the background information on those 4 ball players really did a lot of research. Was that who did that?
That was mine. So yeah,
that was great. Yeah, footnoted and everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to follow SABR's rules and make sure we, do this as well as I can. So I appreciate that. But it's fun. I enjoy doing the newsletter. I don't get a lot of feedback on ideas for it, so I'm always hoping that I'm getting things in it that people are interested in. So if any of you have something you want to put in it or ideas to put in it, hey, let me know. I write the newsletter for the membership to enjoy. So anything you guys would like to see, I'm more than happy to do that. So, anybody wants to write something, please do. Yeah, Bob. What was that, Bob?
Thank you for doing this again.
Yeah.
One thing I should mention, if you don't know, you probably do, but Bud Lee died.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's a real positive asset in the sports community around here. So we'll miss him.
Is he part of the Braves Association also?
Yeah, he was one of the founders.
That's what I thought.
Good man.
Yeah, Bob, I was going to ask you, what's going to happen with the Braves Association? Like, are they still going to add people to the Wall of Honor? Or is that just on hold because of COVID?
It's on hold.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been in contact with them with the Brewers a little bit, but they don't know anything. So
all right.
I don't think it's going to happen until there's a baseball season.
Yeah.
I don't see any way. So we'll wait.
I'm going to stop the recording so that it doesn't get too long. We can keep talking, everybody. Let me stop that.